sales and becoming more profitable. What I'd like to talk to you today about, though, is one tiny aspect of LinkedIn. And the reason I want to talk to you about this one aspect is that tomorrow evening I'm running a webinar for the first time, which is going to be on 2 follow-up techniques, very powerful follow-up techniques that you can use on LinkedIn on a regular basis that work for every business, in every sector, regardless of the state of your LinkedIn account or profile. And I think that's the key to it, is that they work despite you and not just because of you. The one I want to show you or explain to you today, though, is often a lead into these 2 techniques. And it came about because I got particularly fed up with constantly getting the canned LinkedIn requests. You know the thing I mean. The thing that says, Linda, I'd like to invite you to join me on my professional network, Joe Blogs. And I'd sit there and I'd look at these things and I'd say, well, why? Why would you like me to join you on your network? Because you provided no context around this invitation request. I don't know you from Adam. And even if I do know you, and I've met you, and you're a close family friend, you've still actually given me no clue as to why this connection would be a good idea for either of us. So about 4 years ago, I started implementing my anti-connection technique. And my anti-connection technique is a process that is designed to actively keep people out of my LinkedIn network, more than encouraging them to join it. And the reason for that is I'm a networker at heart. I like networking. I like people, and I like talking to people about themselves as much as about the sorts of things that I'm passionate about. And what I realised was that so many people on the social networks were on there because they'd been told it's a good idea to have a Twitter account and a LinkedIn account, but they're not really networkers at heart, and in a lot of cases they don't actually like people. They don't want to connect, and they don't want to talk to you, and they don't want to participate. And I seemed to be gathering a whole load of people into my connection list on LinkedIn in particular that were of that type. They were people that weren't really interested in networking. So now I get the standard email that says, Linda, I'd like to invite you to join my professional network. And I still sit there and I think, why? But instead of just thinking why, what I do today is I reply to them. And you don't have to accept a connection request to reply to a connection request. If you look at the list of connection requests that you get on a regular basis, you'll see next to the word accept is a little tiny drop-down menu. It's barely visible, but it is there just to the right of the accept button. And if you click that drop-down menu, what it allows you to do is to hit reply. So now I hit the reply button and I send a message that says a much longer version of the word why. Now, when I started sending these messages 4 years ago, they were quite acerbic. I was really fed up at this point of getting all of these connection requests from all of these people that didn't know me, and I often didn't know them. But over the years, I've toned the message down. And I've toned it down to the point where I literally say, thank you so much for asking me to connect here on LinkedIn. However, I make it a policy never to accept canned connection requests. And the reason I do that is because I don't know whether you even know you've asked me to connect or not. Because there are so many ways to send connection requests that sometimes lots of people don't know they've done it. So it would be great to find out more about why you wanted to connect with me in particular, and if indeed it was intentional. So why not let me know? And in the meantime, here's a blog post I wrote 4 years ago, which will give you a bit more information about why canned connection requests are not a good idea. Kindest regards, Linda. That's actually quite nice from how it used to be. Of the messages I send out, about 15% of the people that receive them will reply, and the rest ignore them. Now, there's lots of reasons why people might ignore that message. Perhaps the biggest one is that they think I'm being arrogant. You know, who am I to say this to this particular person, whoever they are? But in all likelihood, the reason they don't reply is because they're not a networker, they're rarely on LinkedIn, and they didn't ask me to connect in the first place, or they didn't realise they'd asked me to connect in the first place. And at least once a week, I will get an email back from someone that says, I didn't realise I'd asked you to connect. Now, I don't know whether you are aware of how easy it is to make this mistake yourself. I'm sure when you've connected with someone on LinkedIn, you've been taken to that page that has a whole list of profiles on there that says, these are people you may know, why don't you ask them to connect? And you run down the page clicking connect, 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 without really thinking about it. And every time you press that button, it sends off that canned connection request. And if you refresh that page, you wouldn't get the same set of faces on there, so you wouldn't necessarily remember who you'd sent those requests to. Now, the biggest problem with LinkedIn is that they're trying to be helpful. They're trying to be so helpful that they give you all of these opportunities to connect with all of these people all of the time. And that's good in one way, because they're making it easy to do so. But on the other hand, what's happening is you're losing the discernment. You're losing the ability to make a choice about who you have in your business social networks and who you spend your time nurturing and working with. By handing over the responsibility to something like LinkedIn and their automated systems, you're actually wasting time you haven't got, doing things that are going to have no value or purpose, and that will result in no benefit to your business. The only way to send a connection request on LinkedIn is to go to the person's profile page, is to click the connect button, to choose from the list that you have of options about how you know or don't know them, and if you don't know them, don't ask them to connect from this point. If you don't know their email address, don't mark them as a friend or a colleague, because I can assure you, if I get a message like that back, I'm going to email back and say, I haven't got the faintest idea who you are, I've never worked with you, and I didn't realise we'd worked with your company either. Then you change the message. You type in your own message that puts something into context. So for instance, I might say, "Hi Michelle, it was great to meet you and have a chat in the loos next door at yesterday's BGN meeting about hand dryers and how they're not warm enough. I think it would be great to connect here on LinkedIn." We're not talking war and peace. You can't do war and peace in this box anyway. It limits you to only about 3 short paragraphs anyway. But what I've done is I've put it into context. I've reminded Michelle who I am because she'll have met a number of people here today. And I'm giving her the choice of thinking, yes, that's worth it, or no, actually, I don't want to connect with you at this point, and that's okay too. But either way, I'm giving myself the best possible chance of starting the networking relationship off on LinkedIn with Michelle in the best possible way. Because from that point on, we can start having a conversation about our respective businesses and about how we might be able to work together in the future and how we can help each other. But if we don't have that conversation to start with, if we haven't made the connection request in the correct way, if we haven't given ourselves the best possible chance of building a good networking relationship, LinkedIn will never work for this relationship that I don't yet have with Michelle. I use on a daily basis for all 3 of the businesses that I run. I don't just work with Internet Mentor. I have other hats I wear at the same time. These techniques that I'm talking about, the one today and the one tomorrow, are just 3 of 36 that I know of and that I use on a regular basis on LinkedIn to generate high quality leads that convert for each of those businesses that I have. They work for every business, in every market sector, but they work particularly well for business-to-business companies. And the reason I'm running the webinar is because I'm launching an online training program, which some of you have already heard about, called LinkedIn Made Easy Pro. And the training program is taking a core of the work that I do on a face-to-face business, with client companies now, and drawing it into an online environment, wrapping it round with online seminars and online group calls, in order to be able to make it available to a much broader audience than it is currently. If you would like to join me tomorrow evening, please let me know and I will send you an invitation to the webinar, and you're more than welcome to come along and learn another 2 really powerful techniques out of this 36 that I have sitting in my back pocket. Thank you very much.